Hey guys, welcome back to Seller Sessions. Coming back to the show is Mina. Mina is joining us today as part of the Open Brands series. We've just been chatting off call. Kind of very interesting because obviously a lot of people know Mina in the space for the work he does in terms of content with PPC and his agency. But of course, he also runs his own brand. Mina, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Danny. I'm excited for today's conversation. And I'm glad that you're doing this, right? Because I would love to move the Amazon industry away from, if you know my product, then you're going to steal it, because it's bullshit. It's not about the product. It's about your hard work and your constant innovation and your persistence and consistency. Not, an idea is an idea. You know what I mean? Like, we all have a million ideas. There are a dime a dozen, but it's the execution. And I mean, when I launched, my electrolyte powder, it's nothing compared to what it is now. And everyone around me also has leveled up significantly. So let's say that I did steal your idea. That's fine, because everyone around me is going to innovate, and then that idea is going to be worthless. So, I mean, it's not about the idea. It's about the entrepreneur.
Yeah, so let's take it back. Let's talk about, I think we've done your in-depth before, haven't we? So people can go
Yes.
back and watch the in-depth, Mina in-depth, do a search on sellersessions.com. But what's interesting about this is we'll unfold the story. So let's quickly summarize how you got into Amazon first, and then we can tell people about the brand. You've obviously mentioned it's electrolyte powder. What's the brand name? Let's start with that.
It's called MMA Nutrition.
Excellent.
So MMA Nutrition is the name of the company, and then the product branding is Hard Work, HRDWRK.
Excellent. And when did you start the brand?
So I'll give you the accurate timeline, right? This will play into kind of the story, but in September 14th, 2018, I was on vacation in Egypt with my parents, buying a bunch of supplements. My dad was asking me why. I told him I combine supplements at home because to make them better than what's available on the market. He gave me the idea to start a supplement brand. And then September 21st, I had the raw ingredients. I came back to America on the 21st. The raw ingredients were already at my house. I started, mixing things up to make my first product, which is the electrolyte powder. The reason I chose that is I was on keto and I needed electrolytes, and I'm an MMA fighter, so I was sweating and losing so much electrolytes. I used it from the 21st to like the 25th. I felt amazing at MMA. I gave it to a few friends from the gym. They used it and they're like, holy shit, I didn't know why my endurance was so much better, but now I realize that I've been using your stuff. And I'm like, okay, great. This is something that works. And then I posted on Facebook. Someone messaged me and said, hey, I have an MMA event November 2nd. You just get a banner, get some product, and show up. So November 2nd was the soft launch where I showed up, to this event. I had 40 products, 25 sold for $15. I had built an entire website with all stock photography and shit on Squarespace. It had no e-commerce features because I did not know what e-commerce even meant. And then everyone asked me, where can I buy your product? And I told them, I didn't know what to say. I felt so stupid. I was like, should they email me? And and then my friend saved face for me. And he's like, it's going to be on Amazon soon. And he just hyped me up in front of everyone. And I'm like, yeah, it's going to be on Amazon soon. And that resulted in me, obsessing about how to get on Amazon. So November 2nd was the event. November 22nd, I was live on Amazon and sold my first product. And then,
you faked it before you made it, but you only spent 3 weeks in the faking stage, and you didn't lie because someone else said that you're launching on Amazon, but you were, because I know what you're like, you get stuff done, and you're a straightforward guy, and that probably gnawed away at you. Go, well, I've got to fucking do it now, right?
Yeah.
Can't be telling people it's available on Amazon, but then 3 weeks later it was live.
Yeah, it was live. So what I did was I literally consumed every piece of content I could find on the internet. When I was taking a shit, I was listening. When I woke up in the morning, drinking my pre-workout before I went to the gym, I was watching YouTube videos. And then I called Amazon 100 times until they connected me to Seller Central. And Seller Central is like, what's your email? We'll just send you a packet and like a whatever seller packet. They sent me an email with the instructions on how to create a Seller Central account. Follow those instructions. they said we need an invoice, a commercial invoice, and a certificate of analysis. So I went to a manufacturer that I had not, made any, agreement with, and I said, listen, like my entire business is dependent on me getting approved on Amazon. They need these things from you. So he's like, yeah, I'm familiar with that stuff. He sent it to me. I uploaded it. It got rejected 3 or 4 times, and on the 5th time, it got approved. I never used that manufacturer. It was too expensive for me, but that's how I got ungated.
Yeah, cool. So let's get into the beginning of that. So you started with 40 products. That was obviously an MMA event. Where do you go from there? Like you said, you was live on Amazon. I take it that you gave away half the products at the event and you only had 20 pieces left to put on Amazon, or did you manage to turn stock in 3 weeks on the launch?
Yeah. So before the launch, as soon as the event was over and I decided that I was going to go on Amazon, this was the plan. My roommate, he didn't have a full-time job. I was going to pay him $12 an hour. We were going to order raw ingredients in bulk. I'm going to give him the formula. He's going to mix it at home. We're going to fill up the packets. And then I'm going to get the stickers from a print shop. And then we're going to use a clothing iron to seal the bags. Right before that happened, I'm like, you know what? Let me just Hail Mary, ask the guy that I'm buying the raw ingredients from if he would mix it for me. And I said, can you mix it for me? And I had ran the calculations. It was going to cost me $5.25 with the cost of labor. If he was doing like, I think 60 an hour or something like that. And then this guy said, yeah, what's the formula? Okay, I can do a mix for $5. And I'm like, damn, that's even better. And I'm like, he's like, how many do you want? And so I'm like, 100. He's like, yeah, sure, I'll do 100. And I was blown away because every other manufacturer that I asked was like minimum order 1,000, $8 a unit. And I'm like, dude, I don't have $8,000, but I did have $500. So, I put $500 on a credit card. And then and this is the thing, it was a very slippery slope. I put $500 on a credit card. I got 100 units. I just told him send direct to Amazon. And then the product starts selling. I was spending money on PPC. So I was spending like my total ACOS was like 60-70%, something like that. So I was spending money on PPC. And
listen,
I was
you obviously know what you're doing now, but did you know what you were doing with PPC back then?
No. Yeah. I just launched campaign auto broad whatever the keyword electrolyte powder. That's it. I didn't know anything, and I was just I watched some Derek Struggle or whatever YouTube videos and Samar Brack's YouTube videos, and I just whatever random things I was just hey let's like touch some things and see what happens. And then I'm like, damn, I'm running out of stock. Part of what happened was I didn't inspect the bags. I bought the bags on Amazon and 60 of them broke out of 100. And so I'm like, those I was getting, returns. And at the same time I was selling and I'm like, shit, I need more. So I told him, I'm like, can you do another 400 for me? So 400 times 5 is 2,000, not too bad. And I saw that I was making money. Like I had sold 2,000. So I'm like, okay, I sold 2,000, I should get the 2,000. And, I didn't understand how money works. So I put 2,000 on the credit card, 400 units, they started selling. And then I think it took about a month or so. And then I'm like, and the nice thing is he could turn it around in a week. So I would tell him, okay, I need another 800. And so I went up to, I think, $16,000 in credit card debt. On the business, and thank God for credit cards, and that was at the point where finally I kind of started at least getting my money back. I think I hit 16,000, and then I started paying off the credit card from my job, but at least I was able to pay for the inventory from the money that Amazon gave me. So I was at least like breaking even, you know what I mean? And that's kind of how I started.
Yep. So did you hit 7 figures on that brand?
Yeah. In January 2020, we did 94,000, and then that 2020 we did 7 figures, and then it slowly started going down after that. I mean, 2020 was a beautiful year.
Yeah. And so let's talk about that part of the story, because it's going to take a turn shortly, because you pivoted into doing the agency. You
Yeah.
went to put it on the back foot, and then it re-emerged. So let's go through that. So you had a peak year 2020. Why do you think it went down after that? Was it something to do with COVID or?
No, I mean, listen, COVID made things better, but it had everything to do with me. You
Yeah.
know, that's the reality. There's not, so there's a few things. Number one, I think the product flavor wasn't everything that it could have been. I didn't invest enough time into the creatives on my listing. I wasn't pushing reviews hard enough. Um, Electrolytes was trending, and as Liquid IV grew, more and more and more competitors came into the space. So they start taking market share, and I was not doing everything I could to compete. So I wasn't optimized. I mean, my listing was okay with SEO. My listing was okay with PPC.
Yeah.
But I didn't have my finances tight. I didn't have my cash flow cycle tight. You know,
Can I
my
just
product.
hold you there? I just want to remind you of something. In 2018, you said you actually had said this earlier on. I was clueless how money worked. So you went from clueless how money worked, clueless how Amazon worked, clueless how PPC worked. Somehow got it to seven figures, and then you go, and it's my fault because 18 months, 2 years in after hitting seven figures, you hadn't done enough to go against these people who've been around since 2013, 14, 15 in a horrific category where there's a lot of smart people
Yeah,
who are going to war. Do you see what I mean? So
yeah.
all the self-blame, fair enough, but I like your aggressive self-accountability. But I just wanted to remind you of how far you come in that period of time, because you did a Hail Mary, like you said. And I think a lot of the reason why you were successful in them days, from being clueless, using your own words, is your sheer determination and your curiosity, being curious about stuff, always asking why, always asking questions, always looking for answers. Sorry, I had to interject and say that.
No, I appreciate it. Thanks for the kind words. Yeah, I agree with you. You know, I mean, that's the one thing that I have going for me, right? Is I'll never quit. Like it's the MMA part of me, which is I'm not gonna go down. Like
Yeah.
I'll keep coming back up. So the things that stopped me from having a good business was, you had these, you're right, sophisticated sellers who understood e-commerce, who were getting reviews in any way possible, who were improving their listing images, who were improving their formula. My recurring or like return customer rate was only like 5%, which and like my friends that I run their brands as clients are like 20%, for a lot of them, because they have good products. And that's one thing that I didn't invest enough time in, was like, I need to make something. I mean, the active ingredients were great. It worked, but that's not enough, because, John right next to me is going to have amazing active ingredients and it tastes phenomenal. You know what I mean? So there was a fear of, it almost felt like an endless pit of investing money. And the thing is, like, now, if you come to me and you're like, Mina, I'm starting a brand. I mean, I can tell you the least amount of money that you can spend to get like perfection. I'm like, okay, probably for the entire listing, you're looking at like 2,000 for beautiful, two to 4,000 beautiful creatives, this, that, amazing packaging, superior SEO, all of this stuff. And you can create something that's phenomenal, right? But when you're like me and you don't know anything, it's like 1,000 here, 500 here, 1,200 here, and it just felt like it was money, 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 money. And so part of me was like, okay, I need to invest the money into this stuff. And then the other part of me is like, I feel like, 3 times out of 4, I invest into the wrong thing. And because I got scammed so many times by gurus. Like, he would come, he'd say, yeah, like, I can connect you if you become my mentor, whatever, pay me $500 a month and I'll connect you to my sources. Cool. I pay him. He connect me to a Fiverr guy who makes my graphics like horrible. And I'm like, what the hell is this? I just got scammed. And so, because I didn't have a guide, and I think that everyone asked me, if you were to go back in time, what would you do? this guy, whoever he was, right? Maybe it was you, right? Maybe, I mean, you were pretty good. I don't know how you were doing in 2018, but maybe it was you. Maybe it was someone else, one of the OGs. But I would have been like, dude, let me work for you, or just let me pay you for your time, and just tell me exactly what to do, because you already have figured it out. And I would have paid him, let's say 1,000 or 1,500, but I would have saved so much money because I would have gotten exactly what I needed.
Yeah.
Not like, just keep hitting, different one. And I learned this over time, obviously, that paying for people's experience and paying for their resources and connections is like a shortcut to success. So, that's why things didn't, started going down, is because this was a competitive market. And it's almost like, oh, maybe I got into the UFC back when like no one knew how to do like striking and wrestling at the same time. And then people start learning about it, they start coming in, and now you're losing all of a sudden. And it's not their fault. It's, you just came in at a nice time, and now it's like, this is the reality. Are you ready to compete? Yes or no? And the answer was no, I wasn't ready to compete. And then I started, learning, okay, I need to get better. I joined the Brandon Young's group because I'm like, I need to get better at understanding SEO optimization. I need to, immerse myself with people who are doing multiple seven figures, who are like actively improving everything. And it's not the do keyword research, find a not competitive niche. And like, I'm like, no, you have a brand, you're selling a product. How do you win? It's not like, we're not talking about the product. We can talk about improving the product or making the product more attractive in the search results and in the detail page. But we're not discussing like, should I sell electrolytes or should I sell like a tent 10% tent cover or whatever, because it's a low competition market. Like, that's not a conversation. I'm selling this. I'm selling what I'm selling. How can we win?
Yeah. And so when that started to come down in 2020, then you kept the brand going, but then you pivoted to the agency because you wanted more.
This is what happened. At that point, I was making anywhere between 8 to 12,000 a month in profits off of MMA nutrition. And this is even at its peak when it was doing 95,000, 100,000 a month. It was only making 10, 12. Again, I wasn't great with money. I didn't understand finances. I didn't understand P&Ls, all this stuff. So when this all started happening, I was doing the podcast and all of this stuff, and the aggregator hits me up and they're like, hey, we need you to train our team. I say, okay, sure, I'll do it. They say, okay, but we need you to run one of our brands first. So I start running one of their brands. And it was like the easiest $6,000 a month I've ever made in my life, because it was me and my PPC employee, who's doing MMA nutrition. I'm like, you got extra time? He's like, yeah, I have plenty of time. Well, I'm barely doing anything on MMA nutrition. And I was like telling him I'll learn about supply chain. He was like learning on my dime. And I'm like, okay, just run this other one. And so we beat, like they said, we had hired 6 other agencies and we were testing all of them at the same time, against each other, to see like what's the best move. And you outperformed everyone. I think you can train our team and whatever. So I learned that I was better than all these other agencies, and I'm not going to mention names, but they were like big agencies. So I'm like, okay, so on a skill level, I beat them. Everyone knows who I am, and I constantly got like, man, I wish you had a PPC agency. Mina, your PPC, what you shared about PPC really helped me, and it turned things around. And I mean, my PPC had to be literal perfection. It's not, obviously, you know what I mean, but like it had to be really, really good, because you're in a very, very competitive niche. And the PPC is the only thing that was differentiating me from my competitors, because I was like literally going into the details and launching these different campaigns and optimizing like so meticulously. So that happened, and I'm like, maybe I should explore this. I've been living too long. I could never take 10,000 out of MMA nutrition. That's not how physical product business works. So I was always pulling out maximum 4,000 to 6,000 a month, and now I was able to make 12,000 a month because I had 6,000 here and 4,000. I'm like, what if I, got this agency just enough that I'm living comfortably, and I'm gonna blow my brand up to 100 million, because I'm gonna be detached from the outcome because I no longer need the money from this company. And so I got a few clients who, we did really good work for them, and I was making, I think, like $15,000 out of the agency in profits. And MMA nutrition, I'm like, okay, let's put energy. I'm gonna take money from here, put it into here. Then I sat down. I was in New York City, and I sat down with Yoni Mazur. You know Yoni,
Yeah.
and we were talking, and he was telling me his story, and his story is crazy. He's like, yeah, man, I had a $20 million Amazon brand, like Amazon product brand, and then Gitida came around, and I decided Gitida. I was like, how did you decide? Because I'm kind of in a similar situation where I have a product brand, and it's close to seven figures, oscillates between maybe like 80 to 65,000 a month or whatever. And I'm like, I can blow this up. Potentially I want to. That's kind of what I wanted to. But I also have this other thing, and it seemed like it's so smooth. It seemed like everyone knows me in the industry. People want to work with me. I don't even have to generate demand. It's already there. And I'm doing a really good job helping people. And it pays better. So then he's like, I had this fork in the road. And he's like, well, which one is going to lead to a better opportunity for me? And he's like, well, the product brand, I know, like, we got some success, and we're going to keep doing this and that. Gatita was so much more exciting. And he's like, I had to decide, because you can't be all in on two things. And so Gatita, I knew there was a huge potential. There was no one out there in the market that was doing it better. And it seemed like everything kind of was going in that favor. And so I decided to go all in, and we sold the business or whatever. So that kind of stayed in the back of my mind for months. And then months later, I'm like, man, did I do the thing that I said I was never going to do, which is get married to my business? I said, I'm never going to be married to my business. I'm never going to have this emotional attachment, because business is business. It's like there should be no feelings. If you were a robot, you would execute way better than a human, because there's like no fear, no sadness, no attachment. And so I'm like, I actually became the thing that I said I was never going to become, which is married to my business. And I so desperately wanted MMA nutrition to succeed. Maybe it's not even, maybe for it to succeed, I need to change the entire company. I need to come up with better products. I need to, have at least the right avatar in mind. I just realized, looking in the market basket analysis, that the number one other thing that people who buy MMA nutrition buy, guess what it was?
Go on.
Women's lingerie. Crazy, right? Women's lingerie. Like the number one thing that people who buy MMA nutrition electrolyte powder is women's lingerie. And I said, I have no idea what my market even is. Like I'm so off. I need so much to be done. And with Trivium, I'm like, everyone wants me to run their ads. It's easy. It's fun for me. I enjoy doing it. I can talk about it all day. I know how to talk to the B2B customer. I don't know how to talk to the B2C customer. I don't know. I can talk to regular consumers. I just I don't know. It's not my skill. But to other business owners, I can talk all day. And so that's where that fork in the road came. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go all in on Trivium. I went all in on Trivium. I shut down all the ads for MMA nutrition, and I said, let it be. And I put one of my employees on the account, and I said, just keep restocking it. And I gave him a checklist. I'm like, now it's easy because I don't have to worry about it, right? I'm like, optimize the SEO, optimize the title, optimize the bullet points, get a couple of videos. And then slowly, like, things are getting done on this account. I'm not even looking at it. And next thing, I'm looking at my MMA nutrition bank balance, and it's getting bigger and bigger. And I'm looking at the P&L, and it went from 6K to 8K to 12K to 15K to 20K, and now it's like somewhere around 25,000 a month in profits. After I'm like, okay, I'm done with this. I don't want to invest any more time, energy, or effort into it. I'm just gonna have someone run it, because it's making some money. It's passive income technically at this point. And I'm like, I'll just keep it running, and I'll. And I was in debt to my manufacturer and stuff like that. Paid off all the debts, paid off all the credit card debt that I had, and it's finally like a profitable business. So that was the kind of the story.
Pretty impressive. So where do you want to take it now? Obviously, Are you going to invest more in growing that? Because you've got the agency into a good place, right? You've got a lot of happy customers. And so what would be the next step for the brand? And are you worried about the attachment going back on the brand? Because you mentioned earlier on, everyone wants to turn everything into 100 million, right? But it's one thing to say it, and there's another thing to get there. And then there's the investment and the sacrifice of going all in. So where are you in the fork of the road with it now?
Yeah, so I'm completely all into Trivium, right? If MMA nutrition vanishes tomorrow, yeah, I'm gonna be like, sucks, but I don't care. Like, I know that I can make that 20K in profit, like in 2 weeks, if I focus on, if I'm doing it in Trivium. So, just an additional 20K is what. But so for me, I don't really care about MMA nutrition that much. What it is though is it keeps me sharp, right? Like, I'm not the guy who's gonna sell you on PPC services and SEO and this if I'm not doing it on my own shit. So it's been the biggest and best sandbox for me. I understand the mind of a founder of a brand because I'm a founder of a brand, and so it's really helped me, understand founders better, understand their needs better, serve them better. As a sandbox, it's obviously great because every time there's something new, I can test it. I can look at the search query performance report as soon as it came out. I'm like, okay, what can we do here? Let's try these things. We try it on MMA. We see some good traction. Then we go and try it on some other people. So that's kind of what its main use is. But also at the same time, it's a place to use like some of my resources. So, I'm using my people who, for creatives to up the creatives. I'm launching a new powder packets, right? So I went and I looked at the search volume, and powder packets has a more search volume than regular electrolyte powder, and so I'm gonna launch that. And again, I have a team; they're managing it. I have a friend who's a manufacturer. He's doing all the manufacturing. He also has an electrolyte powder, so he's going to do everything. He's going to give me samples. I'm going to say, I like this one. We're going to make 1,000, send it to Amazon as a variation. I have a team that can get reviews. So everything kind of runs based on the Trivium machine. And and again, I'm very detached from the outcome. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It doesn't get any of my focus. It's another Slack channel where I get a daily update. Here's the performance of this brand. Here's what I'm doing on it this week. And, it is just kind of a reminder of like, this is your brand. So you need to know how to do everything for this brand and get good at it and build a system for it so you can replicate this for everyone else. And so that's kind of been its best, because I intimately know the brand so much and I'm so familiar with everything, so that when I look at it, I'm like, okay, I'm going to build a checklist for all the other businesses that we run on. This is everything that you should have in your listing PDP. Videos, at least 150 questions, A+ content that looks like this, meta tags, And then I'm like, okay, cool. I'm familiar with MMA nutrition. So I built this list, and then I take it to the team. I'm like, go through every single brand and see what they're missing, like the gap, and then tell them, you either you do it or if we can, we'll do it and pay us, or we'll send you to someone who can do it and you pay them to do it. Yeah. And we're just constantly improving the brand. So that's kind of where it's at now.
Excellent. So before we wrap, give a bit of advice you would give to Amazon sellers.
Okay, so the advice that I would give is, I mean, the first advice is, if you never quit, you'll never fail. That's the number one thing. I mean, the only way you'll ever fail is once you quit, because once you quit, there's 0% chance of success. But as long as you don't quit, there's always a chance. Pay for experience and for knowledge. Just make sure it's the right person that you're paying. But that's been the fastest way for me to shortcut anything. Like, I just had a call with this guy, Travis. I think their business does 70, 80 million a year on Amazon. And he was just sharing these things with me. And I'm like, wow, he spent so much time figuring these things out. And I got them in through a 30-minute, 1-hour call. So that's the second thing. And the third thing is it's continuous improvement. You have to identify every single thing possible that can be better in your brand and your products, and constantly improve until the day you die or sell the business. You know what I mean? Because everyone around you is always improving. Everyone around you is innovating. If you don't have your next product innovation that's gonna, create a bigger moat, if you're not constantly improving your creatives, my creatives were amazing, and then 6 months later they were shit compared to everyone else's creatives. So, it's like everyone around you is constantly improving. That's why we went from Nokia phones to amazing iPhones, and whatever is going to be in the future. So, I mean, it's your duty to also continuously improve your product, your brand, and do everything everything around it to just constantly get better. And then it's take full accountability. Everything's on you. If you don't understand finances, it's on you. If you're not great at any part of the business, if you're not good at supply chain, if you're not good at PPC, it's all on you. The people that say hire to your weaknesses, it's a half truth. It's not hire to your weaknesses. It's first learn about your weaknesses, understand them. You have to be good. You have to be good enough that if that person, if you didn't have
you need to be good enough to hire them in that position, so you don't have your pants pulled down.
Exactly. So, I mean, if you don't understand anything about PPC, please don't hire me, because it's just going to be a horrible experience. Go learn about it. Watch, 10, 15 of my videos. You'll understand pretty decently what to do. Practice a little bit. And then when you hire me and we have a conversation, you're like, okay, that makes sense. Or no, actually, I've tried this thing in the past and it didn't work out. So can we try this instead? And then you can hire to weaknesses. And so that's my advice. Excellent.
And what's the best way that people can reach you?
LinkedIn, Mina Elias, M-I-N-A, last name E-L-I-A-S. Instagram is at the Mina Elias. Pretty responsive on both. Or email me, mina@triviumco.com.
Excellent. Guys, thank you for joining us today. Mina, thank you for joining us. I'll be back next week. Shaun will be up next. Take care of yourself and your family. Much love, and I'll see you again soon.
Peace out.